Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? What you are about to witness is real.
This is not a dream, but a new beginning.
Stand by for uplink.
The Don Hanston Show, straight up.
Thank you.
GPS uplink now completed with Google Earth. Commencing the official countdown in 3, 2, 1.
And now your hosts.
Welcome to Straight Up, the Don Hanston Show, along with DJ Marcel and Don, the leader of the podcast. I am Sal. We're here to talk to you about some current events, and we have some interesting stuff going on in the news. Don, I wanted to start off this morning with what everybody is talking about. Once again, Los Angeles riots that are going on. What do you think about those?
You know, just more chaos, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of things with that, right? Number one, it's orchestrated. People are hired. People are paid to create a lot of mayhem, okay, in these streets, and they're making it sound as though it's the people. It's not. It's paid orchestrators, and obviously there's some people that, you know, that think it's a good thing, so they want to back it up. A lot of illegal people included, it's chaos. Like if I lived in LA, I'd be pissed off because you know, you're out there creating mayhem and safety issues, and I mean, these police are misdirected. I mean, they should be working against crime that's going on in the area, not trying to contain a bunch of idiots that are paid to destroy. And so the whole thing is nonsense. As far as protecting the illegal people, okay, here's my take on this thing real quick is, all right, we want to get rid of the criminals. Right now, we're looking to get rid of the criminal element, especially these really bad ones, bad actors. We need to get them out of the country. But what's happening is these sanctuary cities, when they find out that ICE is coming in, they release them from the prison system, the lockups, and they put them back out into the streets. And so what happens is ICE has to locate these people, and who harbors these people? It's usually other illegals, and they could be ones that have jobs, could be the family members, it could be good people, paid. But now, right. And so now ICE has to kick in a door. They find a guy, and they find the people that are harboring them. Now they want to get rid of all the people that have been harboring them, where they would have not been tampered with had they not released these people back into the civilization. So the whole thing, and then they want to blame Trump, and to be honest with you, this, putting the Marines in there, I mean, absolutely, whatever you got to do to get this thing back intact. But the thing is, a lot of people that live in a lot of these sanctuary cities, they have heavy duty real estate taxes. They pay basically to support these areas. And even if they are left, they don't want to see their cities being destroyed and their safety going away and everything else. So, I mean, it's the finger pointing and all the nonsense. But bottom line is we need some kind of, justice here in America. And the whole thing with this illegal thing is, you know what, if you came here and you didn't follow process, or you overstayed your visa, that's criminal enough. But if you're at least working and adding to the system, okay, you're not creating a deficit. But if you're here and you're here to create, crime and criminal activity and take from the system, then why do we want these people here? So, in a nutshell, I think the whole thing's nonsense.
Well, I know the rioters are brought in. I read something that they're getting paid over $1,000 a week to go down there and agitate and riot.
$200 a day.
Incredible, the money. And
yes,
I could see a lot of people doing that. And you also have like Mayor Bass of Los Angeles and Gavin Newsom of, the governor. They were saying that because Trump brought in the National Guard, that's when things got ugly. Well, that's not true. Those were brought in during the weekend, and the riots were already going on, burning cars and everything for 2 days prior. So you're right. They're just pointing the finger. They're trying to blame the Trump administration for doing this. And now, I don't know if you've seen the clip, was this morning I seen it, that Nancy Pelosi did a press conference saying that she asked Donald Trump several times to bring out the National Guard for January 6th, and he told her no. I mean, not even thinking about the documentary that her own daughter filmed, which has the clip of Nancy in the backseat of the car saying, Trump asked me if I wanted the National Guard, and I told him no. I mean, the video's out there. It's been out there for a year. So once again, they're just coming out blatant lies. But this rioting is getting bad because now it's spread to New York, and it's obviously here in Chicago it's going on. And like you said, with these sanctuary cities, a lot of the police are just told to stand down. Personally, they want to burn LA down to the ground? Go right ahead. Have fun. There's a part that makes me think, and what do you think about this? Should have Trump even sent the National Guard? I mean, this is the government that they voted for, these people. And I don't want to see it happen, don't get me wrong, but what would they have said if Trump didn't send the National Guard? They would come out and say, look, he didn't bring out the National Guard for us. He doesn't care about us.
Well, here's the catch-22 on it, okay? All right, you say sanctuary city, so you say, okay, the people that voted in these knuckleheads, okay, they deserve what they get. But let's just say a guy like me, right? I live in Chicago. I didn't vote for the shit, okay? And they're coming into my backyard and they're burning my cars and shit, and nobody's gonna do anything. So I go out there with my gun and I smoke these clowns up. Now I'm going. Now I'm in trouble. So the bottom line is nobody can protect themselves or their property or their families. So somebody's got to do it. So as much as I agree with you, like these people voted for this shit, let it fucking happen to them, okay? But as much as I agree with that, I don't agree that everyone in those areas voted for that shit. I understand that there is people that actually like all this fucking bullshit that's going on. But I also do know a lot of people in Chicago, okay, that live in the city that absolutely do not like that stuff. That all carry guns. They try and protect themselves. But then what do? We all try and stay out of the way of problems because we don't want to have to shoot somebody because these liberal courts and judges are going to try us and try and put us in prison.
They'll be out on the street.
And while the criminal's on the street. So the thing is like, I disagree with you as much as I agree and say, they deserve it because this is what the majority voted for. That's if elections in fact are fair, but I don't think everyone deserves this shit. And if you paid X amount of money for a house and your house isn't worth that amount of money, why do you have to take a hit because they want to destroy the neighborhoods? I don't get it.
I see your point that not everybody voted for the chaos. That is a very legitimate point. I did see Ron DeSantis release a statement saying that if there's any riots near him, and if you're in your car and you get surrounded by a mob, do not sit and wait for them to pull you out of the car, drag you out. Run him over if you have to. Get out of there. He doesn't care. Which I agree. If a bunch of people are going to surround me in my vehicle, you better be prepared to get run over because you're going to be run over. And that's all there is.
You're going to need a good body shop. I think we should go into a business of selling cow catchers for the cars, right? Just run these morons down.
I was wondering, when all these riots were going on, I was like, where are all the people that drive through parades? Where are all these nutballs? But apparently Chicago the other day had one. A guy speeding through the crowd of people. One guy, I don't even want to say it, but anyways, yeah. So DeSantis did say, do not just sit there. If you have to run them over, they're in your way, you run them over. And that's it. And you know what? I agree with that because sooner or later the people are going to see this. They're going to say, well, I ain't going to go stand by that car.
Well, the only way you get rid of, criminal activity or any type of crime or stuff is you have to intensify, the punishment, right? Yeah. And so, like, if you throw that into people's hands, right, they get in front of your car, they're going to carjack you, and you run them over, okay? Basically, you're empowering somebody to do that. So, do you think these knuckleheads are going to want to jump in front of your car to try and carjack you? They're like, no, that guy might run me over. So, it's going to put a stop to a lot of this stuff. And, I always go back to the old, some of those countries where if you stole, and they caught you, that you lose a finger. Next time around, you lose your thumbs. Next time around, you lose your hands. Next time, you lose your arms. The bottom line is they get rid of the stealing. So you have to intensify the punishments if you want to get rid of the problems. But if you see what's going on in modern day politics is they applause all the bad
Yeah.
actors, right?
Oh, yeah.
They tear down statues of great people and they put statues up of Floyd and all these other
What about
morons.
that female
And
black lady in New York? What was that?
I don't.
What?
There's so much
I don't
nonsense.
understand that.
And I don't watch the news, so I can't even follow all this stuff. It's just way
There
too
is
much.
so much going on, and with us only having a half hour, it's hard to touch upon everything. But it's definitely a problem. And I know this morning Pam Bondi has put out a warning to anybody rioting that they will be held accountable. I hope that's the case. But, we'll keep an eye on that and see what goes on. I know they have something planned in a couple days, another big rally or riot or whatever that they want to do. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, maybe touch on that in the next episode. Don, you brought up something else that in the pre-show that we were going to talk about, and what was that?
You're talking about the Musk versus Trump thing. I mean, it's kind of stale news, but it's kind of not. So, they went back and forth with each other. Two very prominent, very wealthy, very successful
Are you
men,
buying it?
right?
I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
Come
Come on. He gives him a key to the White House, and 2 days later, Musk is tweeting that Trump's on the Epstein list. I'm not buying this. I think they had to come up with something to try to save Musk business and everything else. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of different perspectives that go through my mind. One of them is, whether it's Elon says, I got to save my brand and my name, or if Trump said that, right? That could be part of it. The other part is, maybe because Musk originally was a Democrat, maybe he sees like the Democrats were buying the electric cars.
Yeah.
Let's just say, for instance, and they're going to buy into a lot of this other stuff. Maybe he needs to, separate himself from the conservative party. That could be another one. But ultimately, what I think is what was interesting is I think that there's some type of paradigm shift going on because one of the guys that I always really liked, I thought he was a straight up guy, and I love straight up people, was Dan Bongino. And Dan Bongino and Cash Patel, all of a sudden, they're trying to press this thing that Jeffrey Epstein suicide was legit. Okay, come on. Like I said, the first time I heard that, I knew that before I even had a sip of coffee at 5 a.m. that was bullshit. Okay, the guy got suicided, and everyone knows that. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. And there's just way too many people that were going to go down. So now all of a sudden they're trying to they flip the script, and all of a sudden they're saying, oh yeah, this was legitimate that he tried killing himself, or he did kill himself, I should say. And but all the information is sketchy, right? Because
the facts of
anyway,
it are very strange.
So so there's another thing. Like, okay, were their families compromised, right? Threatened or blackmailed or something, or we do know that Trump was on the flight log to Epstein Island, right? But does that mean that he was, involved in all of this stuff? No, we don't know that. So, I mean, were they covering for Trump?
I have an interesting take on that, actually.
Or my other perspective too is, are they kind of like making it seem like, yeah, he killed himself, so someone relaxes while they put together an investigation on a bigger fish that ultimately they want to take down us, but they want them to kind of feel comfortable, like, yeah, everyone's buying into this Epstein killed himself thing. So, I mean, there's so many different ways to look at it. I don't know.
But you had brought up the Musk versus Trump. I know that a lot on the right got really ticked off when Musk tweeted that Trump's name is in the Epstein files, which I thought was kind of a low blow. But let me tell you what I heard. What do you think of the notion that they did that on purpose? Because, first of all, when that first part of the Epstein files got released in February, if you remember, Trump's name was already in there. And it was
That's
Yeah,
what I
it
was
was
talking
in
about.
there
Yeah.
because he supposedly banned him and kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. So his name's already was in there that a lot of the staff or the reporters got a copy of. So what do you think of the notion that Musk tweeted that in hopes that the Democrats now will say, oh, wait a minute, Trump's name's in these things? We want it released now. So now the Democrats will push to have this released. What do you think of that? Is that possible?
I think that's a very viable
Yeah.
perspective, one that I didn't really think of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know he was in it. I thought he was on a flight log, but maybe that was what it was. Was he, that Epstein was over at Mar-a-Lago? I
Well,
don't
that's
really
just what I heard
remember,
Patel say about him
but
being on the list in February.
you might be right, right? Because to get the fish on the
Mm-hmm.
hook, right, you got to put the proper
Right.
bait, right? So I think that's very realistic. It doesn't make sense that two of the
Yeah, just
most brilliant, successful men, obviously they both have egos, like are going to go back and forth at each other like they're
2 days
kindergartners. You know
after
what
he
I mean?
gives them the key to the White House. I mean, they were inseparable for months. And now all of a sudden, I'm not buying it. And I know a lot of people are saying, no, it happened. He just ticked him off and he was spending money. All he did with Doge, and then Trump wants to expand the
You might
budget.
be right though, because the thing that started the whole thing was Elon was saying how it was fiscally irresponsible, that big beautiful
Mhm.
bill was, and that started it all, which doesn't make sense because Elon Musk was trying to consolidate all
Right,
this needless spending and actually use it for something that was good.
right.
So, and I think that bill was basically to
Yeah,
secure the
bringing
borders, get rid of
thousands more ICE
yeah.
agents and stuff like that. So I can't
So
see Musk
y-
just. I don't know. To me, it just doesn't.
I
It
like your
doesn't pass the
perspective.
smell test. That's all I'm going to say.
I l- I want to say because I try and open my
Hmm.
mind to all different
Yes.
perspective. And I do like your perspective because they're too smart to act like kindergartners. Now, I know they do both have egos, so I know that everyone's got a flaw, right? We all have flaws, but it just doesn't make sense. You're going to go to your social media website that you got millions of listeners or
Yeah.
viewers, and you're going to put some bullshit on there like that because all that does is makes you look like a fucking
Well, I
idiot.
think
You
they
know what I
tried
mean?
to salvage what they could to take the heat off Musk because even Trump had said that many times is that he's taken a beating, like death threats and stuff like that. So I just think
Hmm.
maybe both of them sat down and said, all right, what can we do here? Since you're going to leave Doge anyways, your 130 some days are over. Let's try to get you
Hmm.
back in good graces with the left so they stop attacking your dealerships and people will buy your cars because I think sales of the Tesla are down. I don't think a lot of people were buying them for months. So that's why I don't believe that. Now, I may not be right. This may have been legit. I just don't think so. It just doesn't seem right to me. So, but interesting. But back to Epstein, though, as we're talking about. I know I heard Cash Patel on a radio show talking, and he was trying to convince the host that he did kill himself. Now, I didn't really follow this case that much when it first took place, but I've done a little bit of looking into it. And for all them circumstances that he was alone, that the guards fell asleep, that the cameras just weren't working, just doesn't seem right to me. It just doesn't make any sense. Everything would have to line up perfectly. And I know that when somebody's held in custody, now Patel did say that, when you're in solitary confinement like that, it only takes hours for you to go crazy. I get that. Now, did he probably want to be dead instead of facing what he was going to be facing? Could be. But did he kill himself? I don't know, Don. There's just too much that had to line up perfectly. No video, the guards fell asleep or whatever. They weren't there. Nobody's seen it. Just doesn't seem right to me.
No, it absolutely doesn't make sense. And I used to say if you're going to do a lie and say no, I didn't do it, you make up such a lie that it's not even believable to the point like who would make something that unbelievable
Hmm.
up that it makes it believable. Like I was late for work because my car got struck by lightning and a wheel came off, went to a police car, and just some bullshit, just all this bullshit. And you come in and you're like, how could this guy even make this up? This is so ridiculous. It had to happen, obviously it's not a very good scenario, but like make it so unbelievable that who would make that up? It's got to be believable, right? And so. Yeah, the cameras didn't work.
Fell asleep or
the,
whatever.
the guys were on a coffee break or they're sleeping. They forgot to lock the cell. They left extra sheets. They didn't realize he was going to hang himself with it, and whatever. Like, yeah, there's no possible way. There's no way. There's no way that guy killed himself. And the guy was worth so much money, and he had so many people to take down with him. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know for a fact, and I'm sure nobody does, if the guy's really even dead. Is he really dead?
Don's pulling up something different now. Look out here now. Are you breaking some news here?
No, I'm not breaking anything. I'm just saying.
Right. Hey, if Elvis could still be alive and Michael Jackson could still be alive, why couldn't Epstein still be alive, right?
Epstein had more money than all of them, plus Epstein had connections, okay? So not only could he take the bunch of people down, I mean, there's nothing that passes me by that I don't think is possible, but he did not kill himself. Either somebody killed him so he wouldn't open up the can of worms and put all these elites in prison, or he's maybe they got him a different island and it's not called Epstein Island. You know what I mean? And he's over there, and they still got all the kids that are disappearing going there. Who knows?
I don't know.
Because let's face it,
honestly.
Let's face it. These elites, that's what they do. Okay.
Yeah, look at JFK. We're still waiting to find out what happened with him. So this Epstein thing could go on for a decade, if not more.
We'll be 300 years and we still won't know what happened with JFK. You know what I mean? Just you got to use your awareness and your opinion and a logical perspective, and you're probably right. But waiting for somebody to come out with some news on it's a bunch of shit. But at the end of the day, like, I guess when you got everything that you need, right, or what you think you need, money and power and all this stuff, what's the next thing, right? And I think that a lot of these people they're freaks. I think they're trying to get the longevity out of their lives, right? So they're extracting a lot of things from these kids. I think they're all molesters. Okay, I think that there's a reason why all these children are missing. Besides just making money, I think a lot of these people already have all the money that they need. I think that there's more behind it than that.
I just don't get this fascination with these young kids. I mean, in 25 years in law enforcement, believe me, I've seen some things and some people which I don't understand. But what really bugs me about this, I can't figure out why any grown man or woman has an attraction to a child. I don't understand that. I don't get it. And I think there's a good reason why I don't get it, because it's not in our thought process. The thing that gets me, though, is you take these people like Diddy and stuff like that, who have so much money, and Epstein, who could have any woman or any guy that they want, pretty much anybody they could pick, but why do they go after the children? I don't understand this. I guess I'll never be able to figure that out.
Well, it goes all the way back to biblical times, right? It's the forbidden fruit, right? It's what you're not. It's kind of like a married guy, right, or a married gal, and they want and they want to cheat, right? They want to go off with someone else. Well, it's the forbidden fruit that makes it's like a child, right? These are the things you can't do. What do you think that the child's off trying to do? The things that you can't do, right? So it all goes back. Like I said, it's biblical. It's the forbidden fruit, right? It's the temptation. And once you have everything that you think that you need here on this earth, and usually it's money and control and power and everything else, and you can have, or you have had, every man, woman, or whatever, sexually. Where else are you going to go? You're going to go toward the forbidden fruit, the thing that you shouldn't be doing, right?
That's a good observation, actually.
So people want what they can't have, right? Somebody could say, boy, I wish I had this, right? And then you could put it in their hands, and the next day they'd say, boy, I wish I could have that. And people have this insatiable appetite for things that they don't have, right? They all want to have everything that they don't have. And it's so funny because when you, like, I know a lot of people with a lot of money, and what do most of them want, right? They want simplicity, they want freedom, they want all these things that they can't have while they have money because it all ties them down. And it's the same thing, the guy that's broke, right? The guy, maybe he's got happiness and everything else, but he wants a fucking cool house, cool car, or maybe a guy that wants, you know, women, right? That he's not blessed. He's not blessed with charm or looks, and he wants women, right? So the bottom line is, we all want what we don't have, and when you stand back and you look at people, we realize that it has nothing to do with that. It's what it boils down to. It's an insatiable appetite for what you don't
think it's
have.
a sickness too, but that's a very good point. It makes a lot of sense, but I guess I'll never be able to figure out what the hell's going on in people's minds. If that was the case, I'd be a millionaire, I guess.
Yeah,
One
it's
quick
overrated.
thing before we shut this down. We got about 5 minutes left. I did hear. I seen a clip this morning of Trump yesterday answering a question. I guess that all non-essential staff were told to leave Baghdad, the embassy in Iran. So I think something's going to go down if it hasn't already. So I don't know if it's Israel that's going to do something with them or what. But when you have the United States and Trump telling the embassy in Iran for everybody to get out, I think something's coming down the pike. I really do. I don't know if you've heard anything more about that or not, but something we're going to have to keep an eye
like
on.
like like I said, I've been very insulated from the news. I was down in Florida last week, so I was like, I heard about the riot nonsense. So I'm like, I got, because I don't even know how to turn on a TV anymore. It's too
Too many
complicated for me, so I
remotes,
don't
right?
even mess with that shit.
Too many
Exactly. So
remotes.
so I said, hey, can you turn on the news for me, the Fox
Mm-hmm.
News, And I went through, I flipped it back and forth, right? One extreme to the other. I went from CNN to Fox. I kind of went back and forth to see what they were saying. But other than that, I haven't watched the news since April of 2020. That was the last time I watched the news. That's the last time I watched TV.
Well, it's a good thing you listen to the show. You find out
Exactly.
what's
I
going
know.
on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get filled in by you. What's going on out there?
Well, I've been down and out for a few days, but trying to catch up this morning, and it seems like a lot of the same rhetoric, except now we're introducing these riots again, like they had with George Floyd, and we're going to see how this plays out over this weekend and the next couple of weeks, because I don't think it's going to die down anytime soon. I really don't.
Well, let me throw a couple more things in here because I think we got about
Yeah, go
three
ahead,
minutes
shoot.
left here. Okay, Cory Booker. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
knucklehead that blamed Musk for the Zeke
yeah,
Heil, right? The whatever they call it, and he there's pictures of him doing exactly the same thing. So it's just hypocrisy
yep.
at its finest, right? Cory Booker, he's works for the government
Same
and
exact
just
thing.
just
Same exact thing. Just didn't.
so
Yeah,
stupid.
it's just incredible.
So stupid. So that I found to be interesting. And then the DC mayor
Yeah,
flipped. Right? She it's a sanctuary city, and all of a sudden she flipped, and she doesn't want that to happen anymore. And it makes me wonder: are Dems starting to wake up, knowing that they're moving in close on their extinction
well,
or
the governors
demise,
are
or
testifying today in front of Congress about sanctuary
or
cities.
or is it that they want that they want to be able to collect those federal funds? You know what I mean? Because when they don't follow federal law, they're losing out on federal funds, and they're taking the monies from these schools and everything
Yeah.
else. So, it makes you wonder if some of these Democrats are becoming aware that, by being sanctuary cities, they're actually destroying
Oh,
themselves. So
definitely.
I thought that was an interesting take as well.
Yeah, it is, and be interested to see what happens tomorrow in the news. Some of the clips of these sanctuary city governors that have to testify today to see what they say and what their excuses is. And I know one of them, at least a couple of them, I think, is going to be Wu from Massachusetts. I think she's in there. And Pritzker from Illinois, and you have Waltz from Minnesota. I can't wait to hear what.
New scum?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be testifying or not. You would think he would be, but I think he's got bigger problems right now. I haven't heard his name, but I'd be interested in this to see what goes on with that. But another great show. We were able to catch up on a lot of stuff. Plenty more to come and plenty more to keep your eye on. Want to remind everybody that hit the like button if you can. Do us a favor. Also subscribe. Definitely want to subscribe to our stream. You could also check us out on several different outlets. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Obviously, we're on YouTube, Rumble, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud, so make sure. Also, Don, I don't know if the listeners know, but we have a new 24/7 radio station that streams live. It's going to be, I think, finalized, producer said, in about the next 2 or 3 days. So what you're going to want to do is go to our website. There will be a link there to click so you can listen to all our shows played on a loop, continue. And if you want to make a comment here on YouTube, leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you disagree with. Also, you could email us at straightupdonhanston@gmail.com. That's straightupdonhanston@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. Let us know what's going on. And if you do, maybe we'll read your email during one of the shows and address one of your concerns or what you have to say. We'd love to know. But we want to thank everybody for joining us for the Don Hanston Show, Straight Up. And we'll catch you guys real soon. Thank you.
Thank you.